afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast Extra. That little bit of extra when, you know, it doesn't quite cut it for a regular episode, but I still think it's got some fun stuff going for it. We got here Flak, VonLützow fighting for the overcommitment, Germany, Deutschland here in the north, fighting for the Reich, rolling out here with the 272nd Volkskammer Division. Versus in the south, you got Luvnest fighting here for the Soviet Union, actually the 15th Volkskammer Division. But anyways, Luvnest fighting for the 2nd Gas Mechanized Corps here with Guard Motor, Guard Rifle and Tank Hunter Tactics, Sniper Infantry Bulletins versus Lutzow's Luftwaffe, Fortifications and Special Operations with Sturmpanier, Infantry and Panzer Bulletins. Setting out closely with the Sturmpionier, hardened men leading the way for the rest of the Volksgrenadiers as he follows up with 2 squads of theirs. Luvnest here with a double contract start, no initial sort of signs of anything there happening or whatsoever. Sturmpionier rolling forward here, straight for the curve point, straight for the house by the curve point. Kicks the door in, shoot any Russians, shoot anyone who doesn't look remotely and sufficiently German as well while we're at it. What does that even mean? Just shoot people. Sneaking up here behind the engineers in the southwest, we got the Volks moving up here on the fuel point. Catching the engineers here with some sharp rifle, assault rifle up close. The Sturmgewehrs overwhelming the engineers who find their mercenary guns a bit lacking in the face of such German firepower. Sandbags being laid down here around the southern curve point, also just a good spot overall. Not a lot of other heavy cover nearby, so we can just give Luvnest a push into fight from. Concentrating points here. No sandbags here. Another Ketner for Lutzow quite early on. He must be anticipating that thinking that Luvnest is going to be planning for a special outcome and thus the scout, in which case he is planning to sort of counter that with a fast Ketner. Otherwise, he's just being utterly skittish. But I mean, it does make sense, and you don't want to be caught off guard by a Soviet scout, because, I mean, again, it does make sense. It does make sense. And we do see Luvnest, they're going for the Special Command. The sniper bullets, and of course, also further makes it likely there's going to be something like that. So, I mean, overall, Lutzow, this does make a lot of sense versus Luvnest. He's otherwise securing points here and there, leading ahead for Deutschland. And we got Ketner arriving here to support. Concentrating northwards, Sandbags being laid down here. Special Rifle Command done. We'll have to see if he goes for the scout cars, snipers, or peanuts. There we go, we do get the scout cars. So in this case, Lutzow is pretty much spot on 100% against Luvnest here with the Raketen for choice. Well played there by Lutzow. Well played there. And again, this regard, you know, having bullets up like this, of course, does help, but also just understanding the matchup, understanding the meta behind the matchup. And of course, in this regard, versus the Overcommand West, an early scout car is pretty powerful unless your opponent goes for, say, either faster Ketner or a sufficient number of Sturmpaniers which can sort of deal damage to the scout car with the assault rifles. It's not super efficient. So Lutzow, of course, in this case, quite aware of the matchup, opts for a faster Ketner as a Luvnest. You know, probably thinks it's going to be Ketner, but you know, as long as he doesn't make it too silly with the scout car, he's not going to be, you know, too badly punished. Also, very importantly noting, he's laying down a lot of sandbags across, you know, vital points. He's trying to set up the battlefield of times when Lutzow attacks. It's going to be much harder for Lutzow to make any gains, any ground. So well played there by Luvnest as well. Scout car rolling ahead. Ketner with, oh dear, almost there. He just needs to bait it into the Ketner. Needs to set it up there. There we go. Almost got it already. Can we get another hit there? Shoot, Fritz! Scheiße, Fritz, you're too slow. So got away. Fulton versus Country, could probably integrate before it's back. Southern here side, we got Country up. There's a rasp, but still that probably gave Luvnest a bit of a shock. He didn't anticipate that fast like Ketner, but Lutzow was just that slightly ahead of the curve there of Luvnest for 9. Anyways, going there for the curve point, denying fuel there for Luvnest. Very good. He considers sandbags, just occupying the house. Country running back here. Scout, of course, getting fixed up, and he can't afford to ignore it. I think in this case he's banking on it here, but at the same time, right here, what he's doing is telegraphing to Luvnest for the Ketner first. This could, of course, assume again that Lutzow was really just that far ahead, be a plan to deceive him into thinking it's there, but then he actually shifts so towards here. We'll have to see, but also depend on what Luvnest does. But looks like here Luvnest, of course, sees it there, so he might not want to move it there. Belgrade Petrol's got up here by the church, and up north here we've got Controversial Folks going to fight out there. Basically, he's going to try and sneak up behind here, outmaneuvering like Ketner. And again, for now, the issue for Lutzow is to try and figure out where the scout car is going to hit, because I mean, there's a lot of front he has to defend, and Luvnest get attacked from a lot of points. So now right here, guessed incorrectly by Ketner. He's also losing the fuel point, namely he's cutting off Luvnest from his fuel point. Got us now moving out here for Luvnest, more full screens there for Lutzow, adding a lot of infantry to the field. Belgrade headquarters almost down there, and the fight just continues here. Overall, Foxes don't think we'll win that one. I do not. There you go, Scout car rolling in. Kednev on the move. Foxes moving in as well there. Belgrade headquarters should be done nicely. Can get Pantherfuzz up against the Scout car there, going down a bit of damage to base until Kednev shoots and gets it, almost wiping the entire engineer squad. Very good there, very good. We've got the sniper prowling ahead here, the sniper team specifically. Fox is flanking up behind him and certainly on the country will do quite a bit of good work there. And Luvnest here trying to take a very long retreat path to avoid a wipe on the engineer team. Fourth Fox squad they're rooming up for VonLützow, and he's trying to catch it. I think he saw it, and there we go. If he can get the wipe, of course, it's going to be great, but he's going to take a lot of damage in the attempt to get the wipe. Goes for Luftwaffe here, and the engineers get away. That is pretty lucky there for Luvnest. Pretty bad luck for VonLützow, because in this case it means he gambled incorrectly. He suffered a lot of manpower losses here, just trying to take out that unit, and just lost the entire engagement there. So that was quite harsh there for VonLützow. We got Scott missing here, sniper supporting though. Luvnest conscripts there, and here we go, pushing out into the open. There's going to need, I think, a bit more support down there. A lot of VonLützow's forces here. He's going for a Flak half track. Of course, they got the fuel point is even connected, and pulling into the Cowboys, probably pulling into his own incendiary grenade here, taking more damage than necessary just to get the heavy cover bonus. That does seem slightly working out. They does seem to be slightly working out. I would say it was a high risk move there by VonLützow. Troops preparing, pushing out there. Flak half track almost on there for VonLützow, and the 15th Volksgrenadiers. There we go, now the incendiary grenade off against him, pushing out Luvnest remaining conscripts there. Sniper there with 4 kills, Flak half track halfway done. Folks was arriving, Laken was sending as well back here, supporting company going for Luvnest. So he's not trying to take out far, instead might be aiming here for a maximum or field gun. Particularly he's expecting, of course, a Flak half track, and again, just like, VonLützow expected the Scout car, Luvnest of course might be expecting that, but no, he's going for the maximum first to counter VonLützow's heavy infantry approach here, which is definitely not bad either. That does leave him slightly more vulnerable to the Flak half track, depending on how VonLützow employs it against Luvnest. So there you go, 251-17 out. Volksgrenadier Sturmpioniere setting out for Germany. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop that, Ludwig. Jawohl. I was just trying to be, a bit fun. We are on the Eastern Front. The Russians will cut off your tongue for fun, so don't start about fun. Well, there you go, forces supporting here the 251-17. Pushing a hard Norfolk's going for the fuel pond there again, like Kednev was doing past bouncing. He's all got mines up from Lutzow, very good. Not taking any chances here with Luvnest, who could be laying down a lot of mines. It's interesting to note Luvnest, I think, has yet to lay down any mine. Oh, actually, never mind. Scratch that, he has laid them down. Oh. I think the fuel point, I think, one full squad up here. Of course, you might want to be ready for a counterattack, in which case you'd actually lay down some sandbags around here to make it easier for him to hold the line. But in the calf point as he hits the fuel point, very good. Luvnest continues the southern approach here. Flak half attack moving in. Do we have any anti-tank grenades offer? No, in fact we do not. So Luvnest is very vulnerable right now to the Flak half attack with essentially no counter to the 251-17. That's the Flak half track just says into Luvnest, and the 2nd Guards Mechanized Corps forces occupying position here. Jump out as the country up close. Fuel point almost secured there for VonLützow. We got Fallschirmjägers appearing here as well. First Fallschirmjäger Division sending in some men from the 2nd Battalion, 3rd Company. So that's going to be some elite infantry out here for VonLützow. It also means it's going to actually have an awful lot of infantry. We're talking 6 infantry squads, which some might argue could actually be a bit too much here for VonLützow to manage. I mean, part of me would actually suggest him actually going for MD-34, so he's already got 4 Volksgrenadier squads and the Sturmpioneers. The Fallschirmjägers right now could run the risk of just basically being too much, but we'll see, we'll see. Should figure out the Flak after and the South Incendiate skirmishing in between Luvnest and VonLützow there. Overall, VonLützow right now has overwhelming map control here for Luvnest, and Luvnest is in a bit of a sticky situation there, failing to predict the Flak half track, it seems, or possibly ignoring the possibility of it. I mean, there's certainly a few possibilities here between Luvnest and VonLützow in that department. So right now VonLützow is leading aggressively here versus Luvnest. In part because, again, he did see through the scout car and was able to just basically negate its impact quite aggressively, which really, I think, took out the win there of Luvnest in the early game. Otherwise, I mean, like, VonLützow is also just, reasonably doing a good job. They're controlling them out. You should probably, I think, try and prioritize now just taking ahead. Moving up for some armor as fast as possible versus Luvnest. You also need to be careful with these fights you make. So you're sort of likely to end up forgetting them if you're not careful. And I think that's going to happen here. But there you go, he did pay attention. But they apparently also slow there to realise what's going on. Takes us initial loss actually, but there you go, starting to turn the fight around here against the conscripts. Still about half. More pressuring around here, field gun ring about, actually hitting a mine it seems. Down to 4, fights make shifting about. I think they're going to try and flank behind. The problem is they're already too low in health here, so Lutzow, I believe, is actually pushing his luck a bit too much here. Like, even his fire ahead, he should. Oh, he's going to lose the Flak half track. Attack ground here, that's what Luvnest is going to try and do to take it out. In this case, it hits the field. There you go, snipers pushed away. Fights make it still need to be careful. They could pop now behind and say throw a grenade on the Maxim. So it actually ends up working out there for VonLützow, much to my surprise. In the south, the Infantry Company is standing about and pushing through the centre as well. You can see here that Luvnest's lines are being absolutely disrupted here by the appearance of 2 Fallschirmjägers heroically bursting through Luvnest's exposed flank, having infiltrated previously. And there you go. VonLützow taking up. Luvnest is yet to further take up. He should definitely consider doing that soon because Lutzow is just keeping up the pressure and he's more importantly denying him fuel, which of course makes it hard for Luvnest anyways to do anything with it, but even the F-6 could risk being quite useful. Victory points wise, it is also VonLützow is leading with 439 versus Luvnest 385. Back here, troops reinforcing. VonLützow's truck going out there. He's probably going to set the Schwer Wehrmacht Schlepper around here for a Schwer punch at quarters, protect this fuel point. Also making it harder for Luvnest to harass him by quite a few lengths. And there we go, take up for Luvnest, who has yet to go for Doctrine. He has yet to go there. Flare trip mounts being laid down here behind cover. A sneaky setup there by Luvnest. A sneaky setup. VonLützow needs to be careful with his infantry. Okay, Brandhandgranate troops, they need to retreat. Repairs going on here for Lutzow. Takes out the 251-17. No, he set it up near to the battle group headquarters and the CoH point instead. Understandable, though, again, he could have set it up here as well. But this is slightly more defensible. There you go, Luvnest Scout Doctrine. It is Gart Motor calling up the heavy mortar, the 120mm of death, which is a fun fact, was actually quickly nabbed by the German army and basically copied it, and it spread out amongst the other Axis armies. I believe the Finnish, the Romanians and the Hungarians all together just used the 120mm pretty much as it were. So a little fun fact there, a little fun fact. Ooh, nice protection there, the grenade with Lutzow, particularly Luvnest would move. Countering to the south is Flak half track, supporting a 2 infantry squads. Still, that's a lot of units being drawn away by a single conscript around the fuel point, so that's pretty good there for Luvnest. Pretty good. Mines being laid down around here. Very good work. He's swiftly taking advantage of Lutzow's lack of any presence on the field there briefly, again, because he mostly have infantry, no machine guns. Another reason to be careful not to push too much for infantry like that. You do risk at times just having nothing on the field. But there you go. Valiant assault. He rushes ahead here. And thing is, though, it seems a bit poorly coordinated. Like he's only got a couple of squads moving ahead with it, showing some machine guns as well. So I think this valiant assault ended up not being too valiant, a bit more silly, again due to a lack of overall coordination, which is certainly something to keep in mind here. Mining up there as well, lots of sneaky mining there from Luvnest. Very good, very good. And there you go, right in negative cover. Flak half track shatters Pushkin and Petrov there in a matter of moments. But Luvnest has got a much stronger position now here against Lutzow, who can though soon push for Panzer Force. Fuel wise, he's not too lacking there. Hitting a mine there, trying to push for the southern victory. Punch to Empire coming back. Flak half taking hit here from 2. This is 3. Now the attack round here up north. Maxim versus Volkswagen continue here, and looks like it's a bit hard to say who's going to win this, but looks like it's going to be Maxim because the Volkswagen is actually not responding now. End up getting suppressed as well. Fixing up the 251-17. So right now, VonLützow is actually very much in the defensive as well. He actually ended up calling in another Fallschirmjäger squad. At this stage, I feel that's pushing it way too far for VonLützow. Way too far. I don't think he needs 2 Fallschirmjägers, 4 Volksgunners, and a Sturm Pioneer squad. I do think this is VonLützow basically overextending very too heavily on the infantry, and not bringing up sufficient infantry support, which is what he really needs. Or support, that is machine guns or something like that. He doesn't need another elite infantry squad. He needs something to uphold the ground and contain Luvnest infantry, but he's not getting that. I mean, 2 Fallschirmjäger squads on top of that, on top of everything else, is just a very heavy manpower bleed. So there's a high likelihood here that VonLützow risks bleeding himself out. That makes it in a way that makes it much harder for him to actually get out of Panzer IV fast as possible. So this is not something I'd advise. Definitely think he's just biting off more than he can chew in essence. But he's getting very close to the Panzer IV. He's getting very close. Sturm Pioneers need to retreat by the way before they're annihilated. They definitely need to retreat. They need to get the devil out of there. Still good harassment, otherwise map control to an extent, but again, VonLützow is down to an intuition, and part of it again I think it's just a too infantry heavy force composition with nothing else to back it out with for now. He can go for the Panzer IV by the way, or he should be going for it. Of course that means he's got now again 2 Fallschirmjäger squads and a Volksguard squad, plus a Sturm Pioneer squad that essentially aren't reinforcing because he has to go for the Panzer IV first. So again, like he's beginning to hit a bit of a bottleneck in terms of manpower due to again way too much infantry, way too gluttonous there. That is something I think that's very important to keep in mind. And again, I did make a video on this. Again, 4 I think is generally sort of the good maximum. You can maybe push it to 5 occasionally, but like 4 is generally where it's, well, you can push it to 5, but again beyond that you're really pushing it way too hard. And again he's got, well, 7. Like he's way beyond the pale there in terms of management, but also just manpower upkeep. So I mean I do think Lutzow is pushing it. We'll see if he can manage it, but it certainly sounds like a bit risky. Then again, the Panzer IV though will be able to alleviate a lot of this simply due to its good firepower and ability to deal damage to infantry. We should probably also lay down some medical supplies there. So there you go, Panzer IV for VonLützow for the 15th Volksguard sent in from a nearby Panzer Division, 7th in this case I imagine. Victory points wise, Luvnest is also beginning to slowly catch up here for VonLützow. He's also got the mechanized armor company. Actually, next soon go for a T-35. And there you go, good hit from the Panzer IV on Luvnest's conscripts there. Another good hit. Flak after the support here, but might risk a hit there from the SIS-3. Panzer IV hanging about in the north. You got a bit of skirmish in the south here. Volksguard conscript finding out it's going to need to send in some more heavy equipped infantry to deal with that. I think the Volksguard simply took too many losses from mines and the likes. So we can see here things are heating up between Lutzow and Luvnest again. Got a large quantity of more elite infantry in south of here. 1 Sturm Pioneer squad supported by 2 Fallschirmjägers, even in the Flak half track. And there you go, Luvnest able to push out his first tank, the T-35, and doesn't end up being too far away from the Panzer IV really. Partly because again Lutzow just had these huge manpower gluts, starvation essentially. Had he not been so starved of manpower, he might have been able to push it out a bit faster. And had he maybe had some machine guns, he could also help onto the other fuel point much more easily. So again, I feel like VonLützow's force composition has a few flaws. Need to go for the Flak half track, though it is awfully close to Luvnest's lines. Could get spotted by the field gun and take some heavy damage. Immediately putting out a commission. Fallschirmjäger sneaking about here, harassing, and the T-35 they're mobilized for Luvnest, for the Soviet Union. Bashing through the terrain. You see this sort of VonLützow, I think he's just sort of been milling about again. He's not entirely sure what to do. I mean, he's still got a ton of infantry, but how to use it efficiently seems to be a bit more of a question here for him. There we go. Panzerfaust and Panzer fire here on the T-35. Doesn't quite pursue. Possibly due to the terrain making it a bit more difficult to easily do so. Doing pioneers, and we got Valiant Assault. He's pushing in. Oh, these Fallschirmjäger is not ordered to fire. They're just taking damage. There's so much going on again. This is the issue with just trying to do all of this at the same time. His Fallschirmjäger getting wiped out with it. There we go, forced retreat. Pushing up through here as well, getting slightly suppressed by mine. Slightly out maneuvering here, Luvnest here and there. But again, as you might have noticed, like he's trying to manage too much, and it's resulting in some rather awkward movements here. He just ends up not doing too much damage because again he's just trying to juggle too many balls in the air at the same time. Mines going off as well. I mean, in this regard, Luvnest did a great job there mining up, making much harder for Luvnest, or for Lutzow, I mean, to pull off such an assault here versus him. So well played there, T-35 fixed up, very good use of it, and they got lost a unit, first wipe from VonLützow, Futzke scored a bit the dust. And he's going to have to replace a lot of losses after this because a lot of his infantry took a lot of damage and a lot of casualties. Fallschirmjägers need to retreat before they get wiped, and they might end up being dead there. There you go. 2 wipes now for VonLützow, didn't quite land any sort of serious hits there on Luvnest. Panzer IV falling back. Futzke is sitting out. Hitting the southern victory point. Garten versus Futzke it is. And Fallschirmjägers at full strength alongside some Futzke grenadiers. Some medics are on the way there. He can soon go for either Jagdpanzer or Panzer IV more. The versus with the T-35 out in the field and likely another one inbound at some point. A Jagdpanzer will probably have out, though 2 Panzer IVs could take it on, plus deal with infantry that Luvnest has in the field quite efficiently. So I mean, going for double Panzer IVs right now is probably actually not a too bad choice. Now of course VonLützow is down to a much more manageable 5 infantry squads. Much more manageable. Gas reports on the north here by counterattack here from VonLützow. Fuel wise they're getting the same number, and there you got the T-35 setting and getting off a few hits there. Fallschirmjägers just hiding out, hoping they don't get spotted. So what will VonLützow do next? Doesn't seem like he's aiming for a Panther 4. Could he be in for a Jagdpanzer Panther? I mean, a Panther could in theory also work here. Could also work. Not without a choice either, but could work out. So see this shoots, penetrates the Panther 4's front armor. 10 kills of infantry 1. Pushing from the north, but without any serious anti-tank support. He is a bit exposed. The Kednever is actually creeping about down here, sort of centrewards. VonLützow seems a bit sketchy against Luvnest. Initial successes have given away to uncertainty, doubts, and lots of rations with lots of guns. Another valiant assault here. Again, worth noting is it doesn't seem particularly coordinated. Again, infantry sending out here, tanks are not supporting all the Flak half tracks. A Kednever for wipe, that's pretty big here. That's pretty bad for VonLützow. But he can soon go for the Panther. But I'm not entirely sure what pop a valiant assault again if not part of a larger assault, and it just isn't. So he just ends up, you know, doing a bit of damage, but not really enough to really sort of use force a change on the battlefield. Maybe turn the game around here. So that just feels like a waste of 70 munitions, to be honest, here by VonLützow. Need to pull back the Flak after he'll lose it. VonLützow, schnell! He can actually go for the Panther now, if that's what he's aiming for. Can go for it. And there you go, Panther is on the way for VonLützow. Panther is on the way. McKenna for crude hit by the Sturm Pioneers. Panther supporting. Quick landing hit that it splatters out Dimitri. And machine guns down Sergei. Panther shoots in the T-35, bounces off the 45mm sloped armor on the front there. The Russians acted initially planned to improve the frontal armor of the T-35, but the thing is, like, they never got around to it because they simply couldn't afford to like retool all that. They just had to keep out turning out T-34, so that just never really happened. It's a little fun fact there. But Panther's halfway down there for VonLützow. Troop ceiling reinforcing. Another T-35 there for Luvnest as well. Another T-35. Mixture punch whilst now Luvnest was actually in control here. Panzerkampfwagen 5, Ausführung A mobilized here. And we got the Panther with the T-35. Both penetrating each other here with a single hit. Panther moving support there. Setting forwards for Deutschland. And we got here the T-35 moving out there for Luvnest. Number 2, Fallschirm moving up, getting sniped. Trying to use the ambush ability to just, you know, take the point without getting murdered. But there you go, hey, mortify, there you go, wiped. I think that was a bit poorly miscalculated there by VonLützow. As some might say, the risk was calculated, but he is poor at math, I suppose, in that engagement at least. Forces need to retreat there, he's about to get them wiped. Overall, his assault is quickly falling apart, he's making a lot of bad decisions. Like, he's trying to now attack head-on against with scattered infantry assaults. Seems like VonLützow is just sort of falling apart here. Struggling to keep up with everything. And Luvnest is just now much more in his controlling element here and can just, you know, wear down VonLützow because... Partly because, again, he's starting quite efficient with mines, sandbags and the likes. He's got support bombs covering the, you know, the most important bits. And VonLützow isn't trying to play around, he's just attacking head-on into them. At the very least, if he's got to attack enemies, he should lay down smoke screens, but he isn't. So, like, seems like here VonLützow is just grasping at straws, and unsurprising, the results aren't pretty. The results are not pretty. Kenner for there was a T-35. And there you go, VonLützow surrenders. He might still have had a chance, to be honest, with the Promos part. Again, he's just sort of slowly falling apart mentally here, starting to keep up, but then he just, I suppose, also to an extent felt intimidated by Luvnest. So in some ways, again, a good fight, but again, rather than satisfying ending, and you can sort of see that again, VonLützow, while strong in the early game, struggled with the mid to late game, part because I think he committed way too much to infantry, so he'd gone for the support, but he's been able to hold the ground better. Whereas Luvnest been able to extend the front line more aggressively, but again, he just sort of got more and more defensive, falling further back, didn't try to pull any assaults, and this, when he did pull them off, again, they're scattered and not very efficient, overall allowing Luvnest to easily beat them back and just further push ahead. So a lot of issues there, I think, for VonLützow as the game went on, and Luvnest was able to take advantage of that here versus VonLützow. So there you go, a little Propagandacast extra. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, you know, subscribe, like, share, comment on. If you like what I do and wish to support, you can donate in the video description. There's links to either Patreon or PayPal. Either helps me out a ton, would allow me, of course, to keep making more of these videos. So if you want to see that, you know, do consider. This is Imperial Lane signing off. I'll be back another time with another video. Cheers.